This morning on a special holiday edition of The Dish, Chef Rick Bayless. The Chicago-based chef has spent decades traveling to Mexico, bringing the flavors and traditions back to the U.S. He's written 9 cookbooks and for 9 seasons hosted Mexico, one plate at a time on PBS. While his restaurants have earned Bayless numerous culinary honors, from James Beard Awards to Michelin stars, each year Bayless leaves his restaurants behind to spend Christmas in Mexico. Before this year's journey, he invited us to his home for a taste of his life's devotion.
I will say barbacoa is very physical work, so we
That's
have
okay.
this top buried here to insulate it.
On a cold afternoon in Chicago, Chef Rick Bayless went all out to prepare one of his favorite holiday dishes.
You're making me work for my meal. I love
Well,
it.
I will tell you, you'll be hungry when we finish all of this.
Normally done in the much milder climate of Oaxaca, Mexico.
For 30 years, we have hosted a really big barbacoa party on Christmas Day.
The roasted lamb cooked for more than 6 hours in Bayless's underground backyard pit.
Oh my gosh.
Incredible, huh?
Yes.
The meat and vegetables covered in avocado leaves.
Smells so good.
Doesn't it?
Oh my gosh.
It's those aromas and the vibrancy of Mexican culture that have intoxicated Bayless for 57 years.
Don't drop it.
Okay, here we go. I think that will be
Thank you.
good piece.
Wow.
That's a beautiful barbacoa.
That was worth carrying it in from
Good,
outside.
good, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Growing up in Oklahoma City, Bayless was raised on Tex-Mex and Southern barbecue. Ribs, the specialty at his family's restaurant, the Hickory House, which served the community for 37 years. But an 8th grade Spanish course motivated Bayless to ask his parents for a lesson he couldn't get in the classroom, a trip to Mexico City.
We had never been to a place that we couldn't drive to, and I convinced them that we needed to go on an airplane to a country where none of us spoke the language. But I said, we can do this and we can figure it out. Obviously, it changed my life.
So much so that after studying anthropology and linguistics in grad school, he and his wife Deanne spent about 5 years in Mexico, immersing themselves in the food and culture. By the time they moved to Chicago in 1987, they had enough recipes for a book, Authentic Mexican, released on the same day as they opened their new restaurant, Frontera Grill. In the near 4 decades since, more cookbooks and restaurants have followed, like the fine dining Michelin-starred Topolobampo and Choco, a fast casual tortoise spot. When we visited Frontera Grill earlier this month, it was packed with customers celebrating the holidays. Now it's Bayless's turn.
For the last 30-some years, I've spent Christmas in Oaxaca, specifically in the southern part of Mexico, because all of their traditions for Christmas are public traditions. So you can feel like that you're part of everything. Merry Christmas from the square of Oaxaca!
Before heading there this year, Bayless shared some of those traditions with us, starting with a Christmas punch made of tamarind tea and Mexican rum.
Oh, that's delicious. That could be very dangerous.
It could be very dangerous, and I think at a lot of Christmas parties it is very dangerous. This is the batter.
A little less dangerous if you have something in your stomach first, like freshly made tamales wrapped in banana leaves.
So I'm going to ask you to take some chicken from
Yep.
there, and then we're going to put a big spoonful of the mole over that. That looks good to me, okay? This is mole negro, the Oaxacan mole negro. Okay, so
this way?
those sides over like that, and then you have to kind of break it a little bit. You see how it is?
Oh, I didn't want
You
that, right?
Squished it out, okay. So
I'm not
it's
getting
okay,
a
it's okay,
job
it's okay,
anytime
it's okay.
soon.
It'll still make a delicious tamal, okay?
After an hour of steaming them to perfection,
Oh, that's beautiful.
turns out he was right.
They say in Mexico, if you can taste any one ingredient in the mole, it's not a good mole. It's out of balance. That you're supposed to be looking for that sort of alchemy of bringing together all these disparate ingredients to form one flavor.
Next up, Noche Buena, Christmas Eve salad, a combination of the Mexican turnip jicama, beets, oranges, and peanuts.
They love to do these little, they call them chochitos on the top of it. We would call them like sprinkles that you would put onto Christmas cookies or something. And then this is the tlayuda. So this is total street food, and this is the way they would serve it. So you basically have to just like fold it like that and break into it and tear off a piece of it. I always have to say it is not pizza because it looks like
but
pizza.
But it does look like it.
It has a little melted cheese on it, but it's just kind of a riot of textures and flavors. It's just fun to eat.
And delicious.
The tlayuda was followed by a tantalizing seafood stew.
You want to put a little bit of onions and cilantro in it. You want to squeeze some lime in there because I think it just makes it just brings all the flavors really beautifully out and together.
And that brings us to the full presentation of the barbacoa.
And then I like to make little tacos here, but you'll have to have some of this. This is a Oaxacan pasilla chili salsa.
Oh, happily.
It was a sumptuous meal. But several years ago, while in a remote area of Mexico, Bayless learned that's not what defines great hospitality.
We went into one house and the woman was so happy to see us and she said, sit down. I'm going to feed you something. The only thing she had was one egg. And she scrambled the egg, divided it into three, put it into 3 bowls. And I thought to myself, that's true hospitality, being willing to just offer anything that you have to people. It's not excessive, but it was incredibly generous.
The perfect word to describe our dessert, a croquembouche Bayless prepared with a little help from his daughter Lainey and his granddaughter Charlie. Pastry puffs filled with chocolate, piled high and bound together by sugary strings of caramel, topped with pomegranate ornaments and powdered sugar.
We're going to call this done. Beautiful. Thank you for your help, Charlie.
Everybody shout yay. Yay!
Yay! And Feliz Navidad!
And Michelle, we got you food.
Yeah, I did.
We could not prepare it for us, but Chef Jeremy Fowler, who's from our restaurant associates here at Paramount, did the croquembouche for us.
Oh.
Mexican hot chocolate, though, was sent by Rick Bayless. And when I tell you that story about generosity and that woman in that remote village, that was what we felt the entire day there with him. And that incredible Oaxacan meal that he shared with us, every moment of it was delicious. So,
the idea that, I mean,
Merry Christmas,
Merry
Happy
Christmas.
Hanukkah, all that you're celebrating, and thank you to Chef Rick Bayless.
such a lesson. Oh my gosh, I loved it.